So first create this directory. There is our repository. Let's create a folder first, sophomore here. So we will put everything inside it. Now let's create a directory here. Open in integrated environment, terminal, cd, sorry, make dir whitelist. Now move on to this directory. Now let's see. Then in whitelist df folder we will set up a hard hat project. Okay. Now inside that folder, let's create another directory, hard hat tutorial. Now let's move on to this directory and now run this command. Yarn init, yes, I have yarn, so I am using this command. Now install it, hard hat, yarn add hard hat. Okay, so installation is completed. Now see, now let's create a sample app, simple project by using this command npx hard hat. Okay, create a sample project, press yes, enter. Okay. So there it suggests more packages that we need to add. Just add them also because we do require them. Okay, now let's create a file inside the contracts folder here, whitelist.sol, and now this copy the code. Now let's read the smart contract. Okay, so in the first line we have created a state variable with the name max whitelist address. Data type is uint8. So what is max number of whitelisted address allowed? Then create a mapping of whitelist address. If an address in whitelist, we would set it to true. If it is false, by default, all other addresses. It is false by default for all other addresses. So basically, we have creating a mapping in which we will take address as an index and boolean value true or false as a value and name it whitelist address. So it's basically contain a list of users address who are whitelisted. So we have declare another state variable here. What is this? This number address whitelisted would be used to keep track of how many addresses have been whitelisted. Don't change this variable name as it will be a part of verification. So we will going to just add a variable which will going to increase the number of whitelisted uh, uh, whitelisted addresses. So as there is a requirement at the start that whitelist access should be given to the first 10 users for free who want to get in. So for maintaining this or for checking this, we are taking this variable and incremented it inside the function. We will see this later. Now there is a constructor in which we are setting up the maximum number of valid address. At the time of deployment of this smart contract, we will set up the maximum addresses. Let's say we don't want to whitelist 10 users, we just want 5 users, or we might want 20 users to be whitelist. So we can pass that value in it. So it will be set it for further use. Now add to whitelist. First is check that either the whitelist, the message address is already in the whitelist mapping or not. If it's here, then it will return the message the sender has already been whitelisted. Then there is another condition. If number of whitelisted is less than maximum addresses, more addresses can't be added, limit reached. So it's basically checking the limits of this whitelist that we are incrementing after every addition of whitelist address. So it's basically checked with the maximum whitelist address. In our case, it's 10. So it's checked that if the number of whitelist address is less than the maximum number, uh, then it will it's not less than the means that if this condition is not true, then it will going to show this message and return this message that more addresses can't be added, limit reach. Then we are adding in mapping the value against the sender. Basically we are sending the global variable which is my sender, the one who calling the function, and set it true, and then adding up the variable which is checking that how many addresses are whitelisted till now. So here it is, and this variable will check in this condition that if that number is the limit or not, should be less than the maximum limit. So that is the whitelist smart contract. Now let's move on. Here it is. Now we will deploy the contract to the Golang network, create a new file and replace the default file name deploy.js under the script folder. Now we will write some code to deploy the contract in the deploy.js file. Now we will just copy this code in order to deploy the smart contract. Just replace it with this existing code.